there can be nobody who ever had a heart who, hearing those presentations, could remain unmoved and unthinking. I offer two reflections on what we've heard. First, there may have been times in the last 3 weeks when you were struck by the vast distances between the final terrible experiences of those who died, what they saw, smelt, heard, felt, feared, and said in those last hours, and the matters that we have investigated over the last 2.5 years in this phase. How great is the gulf between, for example, what Jessica Urbano Ramirez experienced in her final hour and the filler debate. What did Hamid Karni's end have to do with the NBS specification? Raymond Bernard's final moments with the evolution of GRA 3.2, the Shukers deaths with Class Naught, Hesham Rahman's with the Lacanal case study. What did Arconic's Test 5B have to do with Mehdi El-Wahabi's last moments? At times in these weeks, you might have wondered whether we were sitting in a completely different room, listening to something wholly unrelated to all the other threads making up the fabric of this disaster. And it is this perception of distance in itself which is an important discovery in our work. It tells us how so many actions and omissions of so many people, working in offices and on their smartphones, in meeting rooms, on sites, in testing houses, discharging endless strings of emails, have consequences perhaps far remote from their consciousness, but which were always objectively present in the perpetually contingent. Each presentation that we have heard has built a bridge across that gulf. Each presentation not only reminds us again of who we do this work for and why we do it, but it also tells us that every decision, every act, omission, interpretation, understanding, practice, policy, protocol affects someone somewhere, as someone who is unknown and unseen, but who is an adored child, a beloved sister, a respected uncle, a needed mother. Secondly, I must add one further observation from Council's chair. Sitting here, my team and I can only admire the dignified bearing of those left behind, the grieving families who still travel a hard road. They have endured many months of detailed and often dry evidence with patience, and they have now come here to sit and hear these graphic and unsparing accounts in modest and silent reflection. Their dignity and their courage in the face of the ineffable horror is its own tribute, a light shining out in the darkness. Mr. Chairman, I would now ask that those who are able to stand for a 72-second period of silent reflection, after which we will read the names of each of the names and the faces of those who perished at Grenfell.
Thank you very much.